Hey everyone, it's xVixen, and today I'm here with Sean, Day 9 Plus. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Sunday, so that's always a good day.
I'm very excited to have you here. And we've been trying to plan this for a very long time. A lot of your fans have been submitting questions for you, and I do have some for you. So are you ready?
Yes, I am ready to talk as per every day.
That's great. So as normal, I usually ask the people I interview how you got your name from. So where did Day 9 come from?
Okay, well as I squeak my chair and lean forward, there's actually two stories, and I'm gonna tell both because generally I say it just on a whim, and I don't want to sound like the Joker from The Dark Knight, or I'm just like telling a different story of how my face got cut every time. But it is the following. I always wanted a cool one-word name. I always wanted to just, because there was like reach and yellow and July and boxer, and it was just like a word that was cool. And I mean, there was even an American player named Pillars. And if you think about it, Pillars is not actually like cool. Like if you just like
Pillars.
imagine a nerd who's named Pillars, it's just kind of doofy. But the fact is that he was so good and so talented that he infused this awesomeness in the
Mhm.
name. You feared pillars, right? And I thought that was cool. I love that idea that name can have so much power. So I wanted that one syllable name. So I went with Day. I uh, I honestly think it's kind of a stupid word. I thought it was cool then. I liked word that had that A noise. But um, it was taken because it was in the BattleNet days where there could only be one day. So I needed something to put at the end. And back in Brood War, you actually could use funky characters like braces or brackets or parentheses or the equal sign and that sort of thing. So I like just bracket 9 to end bracket. But the brackets were the cleanest, coolest one. 9 I always thought was a cool number. Um, so that's the one story. The other one is that there was always this clan that I thought would be really cool to join, and it was the Nine clan with Nine Everlast and Nine Kane.
Okay.
And it had been dissolved for a long time. And I was just like, well, then no one's stopping me from putting a 9 on, so I'm just going to do it, right? So it was both of those motivations sort of combined. And that was that.
Wow, that's a pretty awesome. I always thought that there was like, I don't know, you didn't think there was enough days in the week or something. I have no idea.
Yeah, what did God create on the ninth day? A loser nerd named Sean. Like, that's me. I will infuse it with power and meaning.
I was trying to figure it out, but now I know, and now your fans know, so that's cool. Another question. I know you have a little special guest on the show with us today, and I
Oh,
wanted to know
where is
who
he?
he is and
Manfred!
what's his story.
Manfred! Oh my God, I love my bunny Manfred to the maximum. Ah, I
He's a
know he
very
just
cute bunny, but we
he
want to
just.
know where he came from.
I'm also gonna shut my door because I realized it was open, so you can hear my roommates wandering around making lunch.
No problem.
So, uh, it if anyone's seen episode 100, there was the tragic story of my childhood bunny that I
Oh no.
lost. I there was a tournament where it was like the world grand final. This was back when WCG was like the big world championship. Now
Hmm.
it's like the BattleNet World Championship Series that Blizzard's putting on. But back then it was like the big deal to get there. And I'd won in USA. It was like one of my
Hmm.
first ever first places. So I was like feeling really good going in. And there was a key game that I had to win and I botched. And I was so angry at myself that
Hmm.
I just rescheduled my flight home early and just left.
Oh
And I
wow.
accidentally left Bunny. Bunny was the name of my bunny. And oh
Oh, it
God,
wasn't Manfred at the time.
it was not Manfred, no. I could never replace Bunny. Bunny is actually, hold on. I have a photo here that I keep with me. This is me as a child with Bunny.
Aw.
You see the brown bunny there.
Yeah.
This is me, looking hip and cool as ever in my fluorescent
You're
blue.
looking amazing. It's great.
Yeah, so Bunny was an extremely important friend to me and a support mechanism. And when I lost Bunny, I was like absolutely devastated.
Oh.
I believe I was 20. Yeah, I was 20.
Was he your travel buddy?
Yeah, I would bring Bunny to tournaments, and when I lost Bunny, I was like actually genuinely devastated.
Yeah.
I called the hotel. Actually, it was a two-step devastation because I called the hotel and they found the bunny
Oh.
and they shipped it to me, but I gave them the wrong address.
Oh. So
So I
was it at least in California?
messed up. I, it's an address that doesn't exist.
Oh wow.
I tried to like go to the address and be like, "There's a bunny that's here, get me in," but I kind of sound crazy. So I was so upset. And when I graduated college, my dear friend Cambria, who is like my best friend in the whole world, she's just the most awesome person, period. She bought me a Manfred. So like on my birthday, when I just gotten done with college, so I guess I was 23. It was my 23rd birthday. This bunny arrives in the mail, and Cambria's like, "I don't want you to think I'm trying to replace Bunny. I don't want you to think that." No, no, no. I must have been no, it was my 22nd birthday. So this is where Manfred came from. And like this bunny is awesome. He even has a nice floppy weight to him.
Is he like a beanie?
Yes, he's filled with beans. So, it's one of those things where kind of one of my big I guess life ethos is, I don't know what the plural of ethos is, but my life ethos is that you you should always be like really proud of what you love. Like if I love chick flicks, I should be like, God, I love Notting Hill. That movie was so charming. There's nothing wrong or weird about that. There's this always apprehension that I sense from people when they're like, no, yeah, I played Pokemon competitively, some, and it turns out that they love playing the card game Pokemon still. I'm like, that's awesome. Hell, I love playing Magic the Gathering. I played Pokemon when I was younger. Why not?
Why
And so,
not?
man, Manfred's awesome, and I have absolutely no shame about Manfred. Manfred is the man, and I have just decided that he is the awesomest rabbit ever, and it is now true. So that is the story behind my awesome extra special guest bunny.
I actually think it's pretty funny that you said to be proud of it because when I travel with my Davison bear that I have and I go to the
Uh,
airport, everyone's staring at me like I'm crazy. I'm just like, I feel kind of bad, but I'll take your advice and just be proud of Davison.
yeah, I was in an airport stuck actually on Christmas Day, and I was just wandering around, and I just like set Manfred on my head, like literally just like this, because he has like a good weight to him,
Aw,
and I just walked through the airport like this, because why not, right?
why not? You'll only live once.
Yeah, what's the problem? Like, what am I going to worry about? People thinking, well, that guy's weird. Well, gee, that's horrible, and they'll never tell me about it. Thank God I have my imagination to figure out all the horrible things they could be thinking about me. No, screw that. I just did it and got a lot of smiles, and I was like, Merry Christmas, people. Let's
You
just have
rocked
fun.
it. It's fine. Manfred was a star.
Manfred's such a superstar.
I
Yeah.
know. I hear about him several times when you do your dailies. I'm always hearing about Manfred, so I had to know. But
Yeah.
away from Manfred now. When did you start all this casting stuff? I mean, I guess when did it all start?
So, the official first Day 9 Daily was October 22nd,
Hmm.
2009. I believe it was Hero versus Flash by Hero, the Zerg player, on Heartbreak Ridge. And it was just a really cool Terran versus Zerg. And I saw it, and I went, oh, that's really subtle and really clever what Flash did. And I wanted to actually talk about it.
Hmm.
And I'd had some experimentations with like article writing for Team Liquid, doing audio podcasts, but um, I guess I'd just say they both didn't quite work for the medium. It's kind of hard to like explain Dragoon micro with audio. Like imagine a triangle and you move the isosceles portion, like it doesn't work. Um, and I also don't think I was that great at it either. So I was just looking for another communication platform, I guess I
Hmm.
would say. And live streaming was something that had just sort of started to grow in popularity. So I literally impulsively just said, I'm going to do this 5 days a week and just blast it off with it because a very solid habit that I do is that I overcommit crazily. I'm way over ambitious with my own time.
That's a good thing, though. It could be good.
It can be good. I get tired a couple times a month.
But yeah, but at the end of your life, you're gonna be like, you did so much. You
Yeah,
did.
I did all the things. So that was how it got started. I'd done some casting and that sort of thing, and also my brother obviously had been casting for 4 years at that point.
Okay.
It's kind of funny to think that guess it's 2012. Yeah, Nick's been casting since 2005, so he's been
Wow.
doing it for almost 7 years now. And DJ Wheat's been doing it for like twice as long as that. So
Forever.
I'm actually kind of a newbie at this, to be honest.
I would have
So
never known.
that's my optical illusion. Yeah, so then I really enjoyed it because I don't like low pressure situations. I don't like, hey, go write this article, and whenever it's good, turn it out there.
Hmm.
That never felt right to me. So what I enjoy about doing it live is that if I mess up horribly, doesn't matter. At 8:15, I'm done, and it just gets uploaded, and then I just do better next time. So it was very much so the same experience of playing Starcraft, where there are some games where you have already made the wrong decision, and you
Hmm.
can't try to perfect it in this game. You have to just do better the next game. So I just really liked how that felt with the live streaming, and I liked the pressure of
So you
having
like
to.
the adrenaline?
Yeah, I like the adrenaline, and I like the pressure. I like that feeling of if you mess up, people are going to see
Hmm.
and you're going to look stupid. I like that pressure. And even when I mess up and I look stupid, I actually kind of enjoy that too.
So you
So,
like looking stupid?
well, I mean, that's what my whole career is based on, isn't it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Just playing Amnesia and screaming at the top of my lungs whenever dark things pop out of corners. Or
That's
don't.
me on a
Or
daily
it's too
basis.
fair. What'd you say?
I said that's me on a daily basis. Screaming. It's fine. You should watch me play StarCraft. It's horrible. Horrible. But all right. So you mentioned StarCraft. How did
Yeah.
that start? Like, when did you start gaming?
When did I start gaming or when did
Yeah.
I start StarCraft?
Let's start from the beginning.
All right, so way back when I was like 4,
Oh wow, 4.
my mom got something called the Socrates, which was some educational learning game. It was like a learning console, and like the
Yeah.
console itself looked like a robot. It looked like Johnny Five from Short Circuit. And then moved on to the Nintendo. And then, of course, my brother and I got really into PC gaming, playing all the awesome classics like the Graphic Adventures, Day of the Tentacle, Sam and Max Hit the Road, Full Throttle, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. What else was there? Games. Space Bar, which is like this horribly confusing graphic adventure game. We did a lot of those. The original Command and Conquer. Rebel Assault. Oh, Rebel Assault, the third level of Rebel Assault 1 in the ice place. Oh, so great. And as we grew older, the games that we started gobbling up tended to be the competitive ones, like Street Fighter Alpha,
Hmm.
Soul Calibur, GoldenEye 64. We just liked playing against each other. But there was this feeling a lot of times when you would play these kinds of games, like we even played ridiculous games like Sonic Racing. When these games, when you play with someone, you would often hit a point where there was kind of the best racer in Sonic
Yeah.
Racing. There was kind of the optimal strategy to do in Command and Conquer. And then StarCraft came out, and no matter what we did, it always felt like there was something different you could have done. You didn't, without even changing races. It's just like a tweak here, a tweak there, maybe do kind of a big change and use these units. And that just kept expanding. So
Hmm.
honestly, for the first 2 years of playing StarCraft, we only played against each other. We couldn't even get on BattleNet. And it was an amazing moment when we finally got on BattleNet and found out that people were assholes.
Oh.
We didn't realize this. My first ever game was actually a 1v1v1 free-for-all
Hmm.
where the other two guys allied and six pooled me.
Oh no.
Well, it's actually 4 pooling in Brood War, but I'm saying 6 pool to communicate to the audience that is watching.
My goodness. Wow, that's people
Yeah,
can be assholes. Yes.
people are dicks. Sometimes. Actually, generally, people are totally awesome, but on the internet, people have absolutely no shame. And
Well, yeah, you're behind the screen. You can't really.
yeah, you have anonymity on your
I'm gonna
side.
kick your ass. So, how do your parents feel about when you started gaming? I know you said that your mom started giving you educational games, but obviously StarCraft doesn't really help you with math or anything. So, how'd your parents feel about it?
I disagree. It was totally awesome of an experience. StarCraft is far and away the most educational game I've ever experienced because it's this purely like dynamic but objective system. You can't predict what your opponent is going to
Hmm.
do, but there's still the win condition that one of you will end up satisfying. So you have to work within those confines. And one thing that I think is a real tragedy of the American education system is that they just choose a thing and they're like, you have to be good at this. You have to know how to prove that triangles are congruent. And you better do it or we're going to make you stay in this grade until you can do it. And that's not how the real world works. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even in my experience where, I'm putting on a live event, well, maybe the internet breaks down, maybe the air conditioning breaks down, and people are getting, like hot and cold, and maybe we have to use this set of encoding equipment instead of this set. Things are always going wrong and changing in weird and not predictable ways. And no educational game that teaches you multiplication tables is ever going to present that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the school systems. That's one thing that I just love about StarCraft is that it was always total unpredictability, but you know what? You can do it. You can always come out on top if you just make the right decisions. So I
Definitely
think,
keeps things interesting, though.
yeah, yeah. So I didn't answer your question at all. I just talked about educational games. So I totally can't remember what it is.
I was asking how's your parents feel about your gaming, or how they feel, I guess, back then with your gaming.
Yeah, it is evolved over time. The mother definitely was doing well, don't stay up late playing games. Oh, and it's the weekend and it's 11 a.m. and you're
Mm-hmm.
just playing games. You should go outside. No computer games until 3 p.m. So that kind of went on for a long time. There was this sort of cautious resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we stay up late and mom would go into the basement and just disconnect the phone line. So there were some struggles like that. But eventually, mom kind of saw that we were still playing StarCraft and we weren't doing anything else other than that. And we were
Yeah.
starting to these players and these personalities. Mom, this is XDS Gur. This is Elky. These are important players to us and they're heroes to us. And we would make her memorize names, just like some
Mm-hmm.
kids make their parents memorize Pokemon names. Um, and this just evolved into in my sophomore year of high school, there was a tournament in LA, and we were like, Mom, we really want to go to this. We really want to go. We're going to try to qualify for it. And we both, uh, the qualification was weird back then. It was show up and you'll
Just.
play. Just show up, just be there.
Mm-hmm.
And the qualifiers were for tickets to go there. So, because back then there was just no infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really hard to get people out to these events, and no one really cared about the prize money. It was all about the pride. I actually think it still is about the pride
Yeah.
for the players. Like most players don't even care about the prize pool. Whenever players ask, like, "What are you going to do with the money?" They're like, "I'm going to play StarCraft." Like, what the hell does that mean?
Play more StarCraft.
Yeah, I'm going to look at my trophy and be like, "God, I'm awesome."
Just fill the trophy
Yes.
with money. Just stare at it.
Yeah, I'm going to make a money tree and hang it on the wall. Um, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, we were one round away from getting the tickets, and we're all
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, like so devastated. And mom was like, you know what? We're going.
Aww.
And we just went, and I ended up in the semifinals of the winners bracket, and I was one game away from qualifying and going to Korea. And I didn't qualify. I actually dropped out and just got eliminated. But I was just like, oh, it was like so close, right? So it's just sort of continued. And then in 2003, there were more tournaments, and 2004 and 5 and 6, and just the more we would go, the more embedded we would become to the point where it just became a thing that
Mm-hmm.
we would we had done for so long that just like when you call your mom and you're like, I had a bad day in, like soccer practice, like I couldn't do well and the coach told me he might not put me on the team and we'd have these same conversations with mom where we're like, there's a clan league coming up and I think I'm the best player on the team, but I've been losing and they didn't send me out on the
Mm-hmm.
roster on Sunday. And I'm feeling really upset about it. She's like, don't worry, just like keep practicing, like because we weren't it's such a myth that kids are just like hanging around screaming vulgarities into the microphone and like just being total adrenaline junkies for
Mm-hmm.
like 6 years. I can understand like an evening of that, but when you do something for that long, like Nick and I were never like that. So it was always these conversations of just like, oh, I'm not doing well. And she'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, well, you're just going to keep practicing and it's going to be okay. This is just one bump in the road.
So overall, she was very supportive.
Yeah, oh, she's just been like super supportive now. Actually, my Nick had one semester left of college
Mhm.
at Regis University, and he got the offer to move to South Korea in
Wow.
2007 because in 2005 he'd started doing casting, and then in 2007 um, he got the offer to work for Arirang TV, and then when he went there, he eventually started working for GOM, where he works now,
Mhm.
and he still had a semester left of college, and my mom just said, "You can always finish college," and just paid for his flight to just go there.
Oh,
So she was,
that's
so
the best.
she believes in it, man. She's just like, just go, man, just do it. Why would you not do it? That's awesome. So, I mean, of course, she did the motherly thing, like make sure you're eating more than just junk food, and all that stuff. But she's really supportive.
That's really good, actually. That's pretty cool. Not a lot of parents are that supportive about gaming, so
Yeah.
pretty cool. So how do you feel about now being one of the most popular StarCraft 2 people ever?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm I don't like the idea of like, hey, I'm famous. Like I'm like the same person that I've always been. Where like last night I was playing Marine Arena with Chef, right? And I was like,
Shit.
yeah, this is so awesome. And I was disappointed when I had to leave the house and not play Marine Arena, right? Like I'm probably gonna try to do it tonight. This is the way I've always been. It's not
Mhm.
like, I hit some point and I'm like, oh yes, I only go to art gala openings and drink fine scotch and ride a horse to work. I'm the same old nerd. But the one thing that is really nice is that there are people who will come up and just want to say something really nice.
Mhm.
And that's like really, first of all, I just will never get used to it because in my day-to-day life, I see three people.
Mhm.
My roommate Asher, Huck, and Kyla, and Kevin sometimes, but Kevin and I are on opposite schedules. That's who I generally see, and I spend most of the time here. So, when I go out and someone's like, day nine, I'm like, whoa, hi. And then all they want to do is say a really nice thing to me. And that's cool. That's really flattering. Like,
Probably inspiring.
what in what way?
I mean, it's inspiring, right? Like, does it inspire you? I guess motivate you, maybe?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said like you're inspiring, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm just a nerd. I was like Marine Arena. Is that what
Well, let me tell you something. When I told you I invited the fans to submit questions for you, and there
Yeah.
are a lot of people who wanted me to tell you that you are amazing and they love what you do for the community. So really, you inspire them. And
That's
I have a friend. His name is Tommy Reflex. He's from Long Island. He actually wanted to let you know also that like everything you do, like he's just in love. Well, not like in love with you in that way, but like you definitely inspire a lot of your fans and I'm telling you, just
I
reading
feel
all what they have to say to you made me feel like, wow. I mean, I get to interview this person, so yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool.
that's the nice part because I actually I was talking a little bit about the over ambitious part I mean, especially now that Day 9 TV is like a company and, I have like employees who like
Hmm.
help with stuff and I can go in whatever direction I want. There's always stuff to do. Always.
Yeah.
There's always way too much to be done. So I just kind of keep working nonstop always. And this is a problem I've had a lot where I just like keep driving to an unhealthy point, actually to the
Workaholic.
yes, yes. And I mean, there was actually a point in grad school where I just collapsed and had to go to the hospital because, like,
Oh wow.
because I was still doing 5 dailies a week and writing my thesis, and I was up at GDC, and I just arrived at GDC and just couldn't move, so I was just like, just died, and as a result, I mean, a lot of time is just spent focusing on, making sure like the daily's good and these other projects are moving forward. Like the After Hours Gaming League was, one of the recent big hurdles we were trying to get over, making sure all that stuff was organized.
Hmm.
And it's so easy for me to have that tunnel vision and be like, all right, just got to make sure stuff gets done and it's good and then I'll take a break and I'll rest. And when I hear stuff like what you said, where people actually are like, hey, that's cool. Like that's all I need. That means the world to me. And that's like, I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm going to keep working now. That's great. All I want to know is that people are like enjoying stuff. And that's,
You definitely have to keep doing what you're doing because first of all, let me tell my brother, who I he's right next to me, but he watches your he watches your, well, he can't see, he's on his computer, but he watches your dailies all the time. He was actually just watching it upstairs before we were doing this interview. My mom was like, who's that guy? Who's that? I was like, that's the guy I was going to interview, day 9. He's like, day who? I was like, but he loves you too, and he's always like, whenever I feel like I'm doing bad at my Starcraft gaming, they're always like, did you not watch Newbie Tuesdays? I'm like, so you're doing very good. Keep it up. Um,
No doubt.
is there any games besides StarCraft that you would cast?
That I would cast. There's a lot of other games that I like, but aren't really cast worthy. Like the other
Hmm.
game that I play most is Beatmania 2DX,
Okay.
the DJ game, which
Hmm.
is totally awesome. I recently passed my first level 12.
Woo!
That means yeah. Um, but that's just a rhythm game. So the only thing
Can't
it'd be like
really.
is his combo is still going up. Oh, it stopped. Well, that's awful, and he must feel bad. Are there any other games that I would cast? There's some old school games that I'd like to cast. Super Puzzle Fighter HD Remix is really awesome. Any original Command and Conquer or Red Alert games would be awesome.
Hmm.
What other games? Soul Calibur 1, GoldenEye 64. Yeah, anything that Nick and I played as kids would be kick-ass, but I don't actually think that I'm qualified to really cast
You're
anything.
qualified for anything.
Yeah, I know. My qualifications are slim to none. It's like I do StarCraft, and thank God there's a niche for that. Woo!
You have a great personality. I'm pretty sure whatever you move to, you will make it awesome.
Oh, I'd hope so. That would be really awesome. I could be like a baking caster and like reinvigorate Iron Chef. It would be a mix between Iron Chef and Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
Oh, gee.
Like swing a rope across a bridge with like muffins and try to have them not spill.
It'd be
Oh,
awesome.
he's dropped the muffins.
Oh, no, muffins! All right, so one of, we, a lot of people want to know, what do you do besides casting and esports related activities and muffin
Oh,
dropping?
okay, let's see here. What do I do? I've been playing a lot more StarCraft recently just because I've just been addicted to it. That game's really fun.
But besides
Uh,
that,
uh-oh.
dun dun
uh,
dun,
uh, uh,
absolutely nothing.
let's see. Yeah, nothing. I talk to my friend Tristan basically every day. He's awesome. And basically, I live vicariously through a lot of Tristan's experiences. He's trying to like write a lot more, so he's like telling me about his story ideas, and I
Mhm.
like read some of the stuff that he writes. So that's a lot of fun. I read books and comic books.
Okay.
The book I'm reading right now is called Before I Go to Sleep, and it's okay. It's fine. I'm hoping it has one of those nice climactic finishes, but it's been like 200 pages of build-up with nothing going on. I'm like,
Yeah, I wouldn't
she
be able
just
to.
she find out if her husband is like a
Just
murderer?
just flip
God,
to the
I'm like,
back.
yeah, I'm really tempted to right now. The Dresden Files is my recent favorite book series. I like food.
I love food. It's fine.
Food is great. So I scope out restaurants in the LA area. There's a lot of cool ramen places like
Hmm.
Asa Ramen and Daikokuya are really good in LA. Some sushi spots I like. There's this
Hmm.
all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue and sashimi right by my house.
I'm in love with sushi, sashimi, Korean barbecue. It's like my thing. Oh, if you come to New
Yes.
York, you have to go. Like, we're eating. We're gonna eat.
Hi. um, I really like TV a lot. I want to watch more. TV is good for you. I am disappointed to say that I have not watched any of Legend of Korra,
Hmm.
which is like the one thing I've been like most excited about for months, and then I just got too busy. But there's that, and I feel like I should say one more thing. Uh, I like video games in general. My house is a bunch of gamers. Like Asher, my
Uh-huh.
roommate, he did the iPhone game Puzzle Juice. He was also the designer on the Misadventures of PB Winterbottom.
Oh wow.
Um, Kevin works at ArenaNet as a game designer. Huck and Kyla are also game people who just graduated from the USC program. So
So it's just you're surrounded by games.
surrounded by nerds and like nerdy things. You know, like most people are upset when there's like a loud party and people are playing beer pong at
Yeah.
my house people drink and play Rock Band, and that keeps me up because there is few things more annoying than a drunk person on the drums trying to play Rock Band with that
And they're still failing.
so loud and it's so offbeat. All right, but that's what I do. Those are the things
Okay.
that I do, and I hang out with Manfred, right, Manfred?
Yes,
Yeah,
Manfred. So
Manfred.
we know you're a very busy person. What
Right.
is your daily schedule like, and what is the most stressful part of your day?
Um, let's see. The average day. Okay, so hmm, um, so generally I get up at like 9:30 and I just check the email to make sure no crises are going on. Um, Then starting at around 10:30, 11, that's when I meet with the team and make sure projects are actually occurring.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like from 10:30-ish to 12:30. I miss lunch a lot. I'm trying to be better about actually leaving the house and getting to lunch. But again, it's really easy to be aware of all the things that need to get done.
Hmm.
Um, so there's that stuff that happens. And then generally from like 1 to 3-ish, um, that's when I'll actually have the opportunity to do project related things. You know, like let's say there's a tournament coming up and I'm casting and they want to discuss ways that we can promote the event. You know, I'll be like 1 p.m. would work, and then we sit down and we actually like talk through all the things and like,
Hmm.
does this work? What about these sorts of things? You know, like, are there any special quirks of your tournament that you want me to plug or promote? So we do that. Or, you know, for instance, like Jinx, the people who do the Day 9 shirts and just have
Hmm.
a lot of other awesome shirts. You should totally buy them because they're just cool and they play Dominion and other awesome board games. Oh, by the way, that's another thing. I love board games. I fucking love board games. Oh, they're so
What's
great.
your
Like
favorite board game?
Dominion by far, Dominion and Settlers of Catan. Um, but like, you know, between 1 to 3, like let's say I wanted to do some sort of new T-shirt design, and I want to discuss it with them. That's
Hmm.
when I would have that conversation. Is in that period. So it's just like a lot of kind of work related things. And for instance, like if in the morning I found out that there's stuff that needs to be done for like for instance for the After Hours Gaming League.
Hmm.
Um, that's when that would get done. Like let's say someone else is working on the graphics today, and the other person is trying to get the production schedule down. Another person is like, there's a lot of stupid things with any work project that just have to be done, like
Hmm.
getting insurance for the event. You just like have to
Well,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, like, but you know, no one would ever consider that from the external. Like, so let's say someone's doing that, and then we need to make sure that everyone has hotels and everyone's flights booked. Someone has to do that. So, you know, if there's no one available to do that, then I'll do that. So
Okay.
that's what generally goes on from that like 1 to 3, 1 to 4 period. Around 3 or 4 is when everything halts and I begin preparation for the daily. So I'll do that.
Hmm.
The daily actually takes a lot more time than I think the average bear would ever imagine. Most people perceive that I like wake up at 6:25, maybe shower, maybe not. You know, maybe I'll just scratch sitting naked, sweating at my computer, and I'll just think maybe I've started smoking in this story. I'm like, I guess I'll talk about TVP today. And then I put the cigarette out on Manfred's face and
No.
I scratch and I put a shirt on and then the daily happens and then I just turn it off and boom, it's done, right? Um, in reality, what generally happens is a lot of times in the morning and throughout the day, like if I'm on a call, I need to spend time watching a lot of StarCraft content. So that way
Hmm.
what I'm saying is relevant. I'm well aware that maybe I'm not in the mood for StarCraft at that very moment, but I better watch every Terran versus Terran that's played in the GSL. So that way I know what people are doing over on the Korean server. So I can say things like, yeah, in Korea, this happens a lot. In North American ladder, it doesn't really happen very much. And that's a sort of nonchalant phrase
Hmm.
that tons of hours went into just to make sure that I'm not lying to anybody, right? So then like around 3 or 4 p.m., um, I'll watch a lot of replays and a lot just will never make the show.
Okay.
Like, because, you know, let's say I don't even know what matchup I want to do. And I watch like, let's say 5 Zerg vs. Protoss games. And they're all straightforward and uninteresting. I don't want to do a show on that because I'm like, well, here's a Zerg versus Protoss where they both did what they were supposed to do, but then the Zerg fucked up and now he lost. So that's
The
the
end.
don't mess up like him, guys. So I try to do either weird strategies or clean strategies with nice execution um, in like different situations. So let's say, there's always like 3 or 4 topics brewing in my head. Let's say it's standard Zerg versus Protoss where you open air. Just really straightforward standard play. And I see a game that's a good example of that in a weird situation. I might think, okay, I can do that as long as I find 3 other games where he does it normally against these 2 strategies and then another weird game. So that way I have 2 normal and 2 weird. That's what I want, but right now I only have 1 weird game. So I kind of like keep that here. And then there's like a meching game in Terran versus Zerg that's really short, and I'm like, I wonder if there's another really long one. Or then maybe there's just a really kick-ass game, and I'm like, okay, this game's kick-ass. I'm going to rewatch this like 10 times and just note all the important things. Because, there might be something like a ghost snuck in and nuked in the middle of a huge battle, and it's really easy to miss because there's no nuclear launch detected. Try to watch that sort of thing. Um, so once I have the replays down, then I kind of talk to myself for a while and make sure that there's like a structure to it, because the last thing I want is to just sit up there and be like, all right, so we're gonna talk about this. Well, I guess this could be good. Well, no. Well, maybe, huh? Okay, huh?
Hmm.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that there's nothing particularly brilliant about me. It's not like I was born with Starcraft 2 genes and I just have like spider sense. I'm like, wait, I feel Immortals coming. I think he's going Immortals. And I was like, Day 9, how did you know? Like that, it's pure work ethic. It's just that I watch so much stuff that I can reference a lot. So there's generally like 10 or 15 replays a day that just don't
Wow.
make, that might be a little, no, maybe that's reasonable. So then I'll do that. And then the show will happen. So I'll around 6:30, I'll just sort of like, do this sort of thing. Hopefully eat food at some point. I'll do the daily, and then it's now 8:15 or 8:30. And this is where, if there's any stuff that goes on in Europe, because they're 9 hours ahead, um, sometimes I can start considering reaching out to them, knowing that they'll maybe respond by midnight or 1. So it's between that like 9 or that 8:30 to midnight or 1 that it's kind of like wrap up, making sure that there's no extra loose ends on any project sort of thing. And then around 9:30 or 10, I'm like, yeah, and I play Starcraft for 2 hours maybe. Or sometimes I'm tired and I just go to bed. But um,
Wow.
yeah, it's that.
Your day is pretty long.
If you're
Very
back,
long day.
yeah, so and then so that's like the Sunday to Friday schedule. Friday I don't have a show in the evening,
Okay.
so generally I'll just stop working at like 5 and just be like, screw you guys, I want a night off.
Well, you deserve to relax.
Yeah.
But out of
Second,
everything you told me, though, what is the most stressful part of that? Like, which one?
when do I feel the most stress?
When you don't eat?
Yeah. I guess 2 things. One is when I'm just having, there's just too much going on. Because it sucks when someone comes up to you and says, hey, I have this project and it's really cool. And I was wondering if you'd want to be part of it. And the answer is, well, of course I want to be part of it. This is awesome. But I can't. I have no time. I mean, or even worse, what if there's 2 tournaments going on the same weekend and they're both like, hey, Day 9, would you like to cast? And I'm like,
Who do I choose?
yeah. And I mean, the esports industry is small, like very small right now. I mean, I know the numbers are huge and it's amazing, but I mean, the number of people who can sustain themselves financially on esports, I think is probably like 150,
Wow.
like who aren't players. I'm thinking of like all the employees at MLG, NASL, IPL, ESL, and then
You.
some casters. Yeah, there's like myself and Husky and Total Biscuit. I mean, it's just you run out of people really fast. Maybe team managers, but even then, a lot of team managers have full-time jobs. Um, I'm also ignoring Korea because they're fine. They're great. But I mean, like in the West, there's just like not that many.
Mhm.
So this means that the people who I'm working with a lot, who I will run out of time for and have to say no to, I've known for a long time and are my friends, and it just stings.
Oh.
That gets to me a lot when like something doesn't line up like that.
Mhm.
But I guess the other time when I feel stressed is believe it or not, there are days when I really just am convinced that I'm going to have a horrible daily. Like I'm just going to do a horrific job. Like I've been working for like sometimes I like start at 2
Mhm.
or 1 and I'm just watching so many games and like nothing interesting is happening. Or I've seen like 40 games and there's just no connection between any of them. I'm just like, oh God, it's this ticking clock because at 7 I have to go live.
Mhm.
Like I refuse to cancel a show. I refuse to be like, no, you know what, I wasn't feeling it today, so I'm just not gonna do it. I make myself do the show no matter what because it's important. But yeah, they're especially on Fun Day Monday
Mhm.
because I know the premise of Fun Day Monday is, hey, Sean better be funny,
Oh.
and that's kind of like that's some days I'm just like, oh, I'm like so worried I'm just gonna be an idiot and just like be not funny and it's going to be horrible. And in truth, that happens frequently that I go and do a show and it's like,
Merp.
yeah, like it's just, and this is, I think, like such a good experience to have because it's almost like I had a friend who's a brilliant artist, and she I always see her focus on the piece. She's like,
Mhm.
is this a good piece of art? Do you think it was good? And she wants reassurance on the piece. And I always tell her, you don't want to have a good painting. You want to be a good painter. You don't want
Exactly.
to have the thing look good. You want to be someone who has awesome skills, who can just like make cool stuff. And if it's not cool, to try to make another thing.
Mhm.
So completely and totally bombing, totally awesome experience. Because what it means is that I don't want every daily to be, well, I obviously want every daily to be great, but the goal is not to have every daily be awesome. It's to like try to get better at making these shows. And that's
Which.
kind of my focus and my goal. But it really, the reason for the stress is I don't want to disappoint, right? When I was playing Starcraft, just like as a player, it's way easier to just deal with a loss
Mhm.
because I mean, obviously losing sucks. You don't want to like you don't. I'm not like trying to lose. This is great, but if I lose, it's just me and just my fault, and then I look dumb, and that's it. And I'm fine with that. I
Mhm.
totally that's good for you to get that feeling regularly. But with the casting, there's all these people who set aside time just to watch the show and they're showing up because they either want to learn something or they
Mhm.
want to have some fun or they're like trying not to do their schoolwork. And I hate the idea of someone arranging time watching and being like, oh crap, I just don't want, I feel like I am the host and there are guests coming to my home and I want to make sure that they have a good time.
Mhm.
So that's like always my priority. So that does stress me some.
You probably gained like a million fans just by saying that. Kind of like loyalty to your fans.
Well, they're the good part of the show, right? That's like the awesome part. Like it's not who like well, I have a lot of Twitter followers. You can't do anything with Twitter followers, like, or you can't do anything with the number. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything, you know. Like success doesn't mean anything unless there's like it's all just like a personal relationship, like
Mhm.
that's good. Like for me, my idea of life that's awesome is just going out to dinner with a bunch of friends and just having some drinks, eating some good food, and that's it. That's the pinnacle of existence in my eyes.
Not
Like,
even conversation, just drinking and eating.
oh yeah, no conversation's important. Just looking at each other with a mouthful of food, gaining weight. That's my idea of life. No, like
Perfect.
I and that's what makes the live interactive community component so fun is that
Mhm.
it's because it's live web TV, it's not this sort of distant thing where I like make a show and 2 months later publish it it's like I'm doing it right then and there, and I can
Mhm.
actually interact with the community, and they ask really great questions, and I kind of and then it becomes fun to think about StarCraft. Like the show sucks without the StarCraft community. They're like the lifeblood of the show because so much of the feedback is like, okay, I'm thinking about this topic and this and this and this and this, and then all of a sudden my email feedback is
Mhm.
filled with like 150 requests for people being like, you know what, I'm struggling late game in Terran versus Protoss. What's going wrong? And I can say, oh, well, let me try to make a show about that to address that issue. Oh, by the way, that's something that pops up in the daily schedule quite a bit. Is making sure that the feedback is appropriately taken into account. So,
Okay.
I don't really acknowledge it that often because it would just be redundant. Hey, so I read the feedback and this happened. And you know what? I was reading feedback. I'll just keep reading feedback. I just do the show based on the topic. So for any of you who've ever thought, hey, I just sent Day Nine an email about that. Well, that's why. That's where it comes from. Um, but I don't remember what we were talking about, so I'll throw it back to you. Yeah.
Well, you did answer my question. So,
Yes. Woo!
I
What a relief.
I have a very long question for you, and I'm just gonna read it word for word, or almost word for word, from the person who submitted it.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
let me just get a drink of water first.
Oh, let me.
All right, deep breath.
Mm,
Here goes.
yeah.
You've had an unwavering message of positivity and inclusion, and have become one of the most popular casters out there. I think overall, this has been a great thing for the community. However, one potential drawback of this is that it appears that at times Day 9 is becoming Day 9 TM, trademark. Do you worry in your effort to brand yourself and put out a professional image that you have lost some of what made you unique? Also, I feel that at times I'm watching Sean trying to be Day 9 as opposed to how it used to be so not so long ago where Day 9 was just your Team Liquid name and you were always Sean. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Day Nine's so much cooler than Sean. Oh God, Day
Alter
Nine's
ego.
and Sean is a groveling, quivering loser.
Oh no.
Oh my God, that came out way too hard.
Hmm.
Holy crap, did that
Now we
come?
all know how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, so that question is in two parts. So
Hmm.
one is like the branding aspect of things. Like, do I care about the Day Nine brand? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I believe firmly in making sure the Day Nine brand is a clean, cool thing. Um, but I'm also hearing an echo of myself.
Oh,
Is
are
that
you?
is are you getting that?
No. I didn't change anything.
Oh well. All right. Well, I'm gonna turn down my volume in case it's me.
Is it better?
But, but yeah, in terms of like the branding and having the identity thing, it is true that I like try to keep the Day Nine brand like the way that I want it,
Hmm.
but it's me. It's the way that like I'm trying to do it. And there's this weird thing. It has been totally surreal for me. First of all, it's really weird to like read people talking about you in the forums. Because it's not like I stopped reading Team Liquid. It's not like I got too big. TeamLiquid.net has been my homepage since 2003. Like
Hmm.
I just like go on and I get all my news from the general forum section, and then it's just like Day Nine pops up, and it's like, did you know Day Nine is like this and does these things? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never done that in my life. Not even like opinion things. It's like, oh yeah, Day Nine studied physics for a while in college before he went to math, and I'm like, no, he didn't. I was horrible at physics in college. Like, so that's kind of funky. And it's weird to see people. Um, I think that the community appropriately has this fear of people like selling out, to where I'm gonna like tattoo, like I don't know, Vogue magazine on my forehead and just be like, hey, do you like my new tat? I don't know, the letters appealed to me. Anyways, let's go on with the show, like and that I have seen happen before, this like weird corruption where people just sort of like start bending.
Hmm.
But even worse, I also see people who get too overly obsessed with trying to please everybody. And what they end up being is this like weak echo of everyone's desires instead of themselves. So this has always been my goal, is just like, I'm just going to be myself and whatever that is. And I'm not gonna do bullshit for nobody, right? So this is why a lot of the content continues to stay ridiculous, because I'm like, yes, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to be able to say the F word every now and again in my show because I think it's a funny word. I don't want to go up and give people the finger and use it in a nasty fashion. I want to
Mm-hmm.
say it about the AI on my Dragoon. Like that is the sort of completely appropriate context for
Mm-hmm.
that word. So I definitely can see how people would be like, well, do you feel like you've had to bend yourself away from what you want? Totally not. And this is one of the reasons why Day 9 Daily has never had like some sort of sponsorship on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I just like the fact that this is it's just me hanging out in a room. It's not like me hanging out in a room sponsored by whoever will throw money at me for like $500. Like that doesn't seem worth it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see nothing wrong with if there's something that I really like, talking about that and being like, this is great and totally amazing. You should try it. Like Blue Sky Black Death, the band. They don't give me any money. They didn't ask me to do anything. I just think their music is so great that I just want to play it on my show all the time. I just talk about them like they're the gods of music, and they are. Like I really like that. So, I mean, this definitely comes into account with like the branding sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the most important thing to me always is that it's in line with my identity as a person. I mean, I guess I'm trying to think of situations where it's come up, but I'm kind of failing to. But yeah, I think that also on the positive side, it's really important for people to think about themselves as a brand. Not in terms of what does it mean to be a brand,
Mm-hmm.
like, well, gosh, I'm a brand now. Does that mean I have to talk about how the daily's green and how I recycle, Well, not if that's what I want. But I think that there's probably an incorrect skew on a lot of the community's part to be too much just like, no, I'm just a dude and a guy, and that's like what I'm about. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a dude and a guy with a brand, right? Who can work that? Like In Control, I think has like a really good presence in the community, a really good identity, and In Control himself is like a brand name.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not just, I don't know, he's not just sort of blithely, just naively going through and being like, whoa, look at what happened. He's actually treating it like smartly and just going to venues, going to talks, still playing, making sure he interacts with the community. And they're all Jeff. It's not like he's become this weird alter person. And I think that that's something that would definitely help elevate the entire level of the community, is for people to like view themselves more like that,
Okay.
because then it becomes really easy to go to any sort of corporation and say, hey, here's who I am. Like, for instance, I still go and I do that, but you can see, like, I have like Day 9 Thunder Sticks. I have
Mm-hmm.
like a logo. I have a brand. I can actually show that and be like, here you go. Here's the thing. This is kind of my ramble on that. So that was the first half.
Okay.
Don't
Second it.
remember the second half of the question.
Well, they wanted to know. I guess you kind of answered it. They wanted to know. I'll read it again. I feel that at times I'm watching Sean trying to be Day 9 as opposed to how it was not so long ago where Day 9 was just your TL name and you were always Sean. So I think you kind of answered it.
Well, that's another one of those weird things where, like, I don't actually feel myself doing anything different.
You're
But
still
like
Sean.
I actually saw that statement come up like
Hmm.
6 months ago, and there's this funky thing that happens where one or two people suggest it, and then like 5 or 10 more
They just
people
pile on.
repeat it, and then all of a sudden, 6 months later, people are just saying that as though it is a thing, and that's
Hmm.
always weird to me because like I'm still just sitting in a room, the same room, and hanging out with Manfred. It's like pretty normal,
Manfred.
and this has happened in a number of like sort of funny ways. Like, for instance, like Huck said, I have top 3 control in the world. Or
Hmm.
maybe it was him. Someone said Huck has top 3 control in the world. I'm pretty sure he said that a while back. You always have these photos of him doing this. And is it true or not true? Whatever the case may be, that starts to get repeated
Hmm.
over time. And then all of a sudden, whenever there's a tournament, all the casters are like, can the top 3 control Protoss take him down? And if he wins, he's like, oh, top 3 control. And it's just like a thing that is now sort of out there.
Hmm.
Um, and that's always like really cool and interesting to me to see the community do that. The weirdest thing that's actually ever happened to me is I did this one podcast, or not podcast, like this radio play story called The Boy and His Game, which is totally like the number one most proud thing I've ever done in my life. Um, and the Day 9 is a character in it, and I had my friend Tristan do the voice. Just because I thought that would be funny to have like me not do my own voice. So when people heard it, they were like, "Who's that voice?" And people said, "It's Greetorp." And then like 3 months later, when it comes up, someone's like, "Hey, who does the voice of Day 9?" Someone quoted it and said, "This has been repeated nonstop for the last 3 months. It's Greetorp. Day 9 said himself he thought it would be funny to see Greetorp voice his name as another caster." And I was like, whoa! Like it's so because they it's like that phrase there. He even said himself that, and I'm like, whoa! Like
Really? Did I say
that
that?
just didn't happen. And I'm like trying to go on the forum. I'm like, it's Tristan. Tristan did it. And they're like, shut up, Day 9. Listen, Day 9 told me. Like, you know.
You're wrong, Day 9.
Uh, I will say that there are times, you know, when there's been personal stresses that have gone on, you know, like a friend of mine got really sick and I was worried about her, and you know, this obviously will have an effect on the show, but I don't want to show me like, hey guys, I'm worried, my friend's in the hospital, I mean, she's going to be okay, but she's not doing well, but let's do the most somber daily of all time. You know, so there are times when, you know, you'll be under strain or some pressure, but the important thing, no matter what, is just that I do the show. No matter what. It's not about like how do you get motivated, how do you get past those emotions. There's no motivation, there's no trick. You just do the show. Always. You just do it. I told myself I'd do it. I'm going to dedicate myself to doing it, and then I just do it, and it's that. That's all there is to it. So yeah, sometimes I'm definitely a little off. And also sometimes there are just bad shows where I'm just not doing a good job.
It happens.
Yeah, and Day 9 would do an awesome job, but alas, Sean is but a mere mortal, so.
Well, I do have another question for you, and I don't
Yeah,
know if you want to
totally ready.
answer it.
It's okay.
Feel free to reject. But what
Bring it on.
is
Bring it
the
on.
what is the worst thing that you've ever seen your brother do?
What is the worst thing I've ever seen my brother do? Wow. Huh.
Unless he's a saint. I mean, I don't know.
There's some pretty cruel things he did at LAN parties.
Oh.
I remember playing a free-for-all with him where he would just look over at my computer, and whenever I'd leave my base, he would just like waltz a shuttle in and storm drop on my workers. Be like, stop looking at my screen. He's like, I'm sorry, it's right there. I don't know. I want an epic answer. My brother is just not that horrible of a person.
Oh.
I was like, I don't
Now that
know.
you interview with him and ask him what's the worst thing he saw you do.
What's the worst thing he has ever seen me do, or I've ever seen him do? Um, I once was really mad after a game of Starcraft when I was like young in high school, and I like punched down on my computer desk, and the entire keyboard rack just went like,
Oh.
like fell down, and so I like this huge heavy keyboard thing hit my lap, and I was like, I was like really mad about that because it hurt, man. Like my hand hurt, and then my legs hurt, and then I had to like drill it back into the
Self-inflicted.
yeah. So that was pretty awesome. That was pretty good.
Well, if that's the worst thing you've ever done.
Yeah. Oh
Okay.
God, no, there has to be some good story of Nick from LAN parties.
Anything. Just call him out right now.
Call Nick out. Oh yeah. That bastard still played Cable Sentinel Capcom and MVC2 when everyone else was trying to learn better teams, and he just stuck with Team Scrub. Jerk.
Oh no. It's gonna be a war.
Yeah, no, he would always play the most turtly MVC2 team ever, and like my friend Brandon's like trying to do all these like technical teams and shit, and like trying to work on his MFP and his like Strider Doom, and God, just like he would just, and it was all the Capcom assists too. He would just like sit in the corner and be like Capcom, or just like come out and punch the ground, jerk. Um,
If you can't think of anything, you can email me later and I'll make a video about it.
Yeah, I guess
I guess I could do that.
we're a boringly normal brotherly duo.
Boo.
We like a lot of the same games. We sort of play them.
That's a good relationship, except you call him jerk probably like a million times. It's fine.
Jerk. What a jerk. Plays Capcom like a jerk.
That jerk.
Yeah.
It's fine. I have nothing against your brother, by the way. Just saying.
Nice. Excellent.
All right, so we all know you're very busy, so I do have one more question for you,
Lay it on me.
and hopefully you can give me an epic answer. What is one random fact about you that nobody knows?
My fear of bugs is well documented. Uh, what is one? I've talked quite a bit about my love for biking
Mm-hmm.
when I was younger.
So that means people
Not
know
now,
about it.
as you can clearly see.
You're so young. What are you talking about? You don't look a day over 10.
Yes, yes, day 9, the miner, doing Starcraft. What is a fact that,
Maybe like a secret when you were younger you did something bad you never told your mom or anything?
God, I'm so boring. Oh God, either that or I just already say everything about my life. I have like no personal boundaries. I just like
Maybe.
share it all. So let me see here. Let me,
Hmm.
by the way, these stamps are from a thesis show
I
that
was
I
going
was
to ask you what they were.
it's the USC Interactive Media thesis show, and they have all the setups for the games that the students did throughout the year,
Okay.
and they give you like a passport to the show. When you go to each exhibit, they like stamp your
That's cool.
passport. It's kind of cool, so I just stamped it on my hand, and they're pretty neat symbols. Um,
Hmm.
hmm. Uh. Okay. I was cut from the ultimate frisbee team in my senior year of high school, and I was devastated about it.
Oh no.
Really, truly, honestly devastated.
That's a
Um,
random fact.
yeah, it's pretty random. Yeah, because when I went to high school, I wanted to do a sport,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, I did cross country because that's what you do if you're a nerd. So I'm into physics, so I'm just gonna run. I'm just gonna run places. So I did cross country my freshman and sophomore year, and I wanted to do. I liked ultimate frisbee a lot, so I did that. I did cross country in the falls,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did ultimate frisbee in the spring, my freshman and sophomore year. But there wasn't really an ultimate frisbee team, so good old Mr. Annual, who was a new teacher at the school and a big frisbee player, he started it, and I was one of like the I don't know what you call like one of the big time players, the guy who's like
Like the
really into it.
quarterback or whatever
Well,
for football.
I don't know if I was good, but I was certainly the most enthusiastic, and I would like bring people in, like, let's play frisbee, let's throw the frisbee, you know. So, um, yeah, so I did that, and in my junior year, I dropped cross country because I just didn't like it. There was a lot of things that I just sort of did, but never stopped to ask myself if I wanted to keep doing it.
Just do it.
Yeah, it just became part of the routine. And then this weird thought creeps into my head where I'm like, I don't actually like this. Why am I doing this?
Why have I
And
been running for 2 years?
yeah. I played chess all through high school and I loved doing that. And then I stopped doing cross country and I would just go to chess club after school and do that for like 2.5 hours. And I was like, all right, cool. And then with with frisbee, because I wasn't running cross country, I started to get more out of shape.
Okay.
Um, I would describe myself as pretty terribly out of shape then. I don't actually think I was, but that's how I felt because, I used to bike a ton and I
Mm-hmm.
could run really fast and I was decently all right at cross country. So I feel like I was pretty healthy, and then I like couldn't run fast anymore and I couldn't bike as long as I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh,
Boo.
um, and this younger group of ultra hardcore frisbee players, like hardcore, like the sort of people that would be in some sort of Coen Brothers movie, the like a caricature of these like hardcore exclusivist elitist frisbee players who would like play with a frisbee like in bed at night throwing it up,
Epic.
like when they wanted to open the microwave, they'd like throw a frisbee at it and be like, "Kung," and it would open. Like really hardcore frisbee players. and they were all really good, and there were like 10 or 11 of them. So when there was a tournament and there was like a bus that could only hold 11 people,
Mhm.
it's called and told that unfortunately there wasn't space for me there.
Oh no.
And it stung because um, I'd been part of the frisbee team the whole time.
Mhm.
It was like part of my identity. I always considered myself someone who was a frisbee player.
Mhm. Well, you were really.
Yeah, that's who I was. Yeah. And then I got cut, and at the same time, though I was like really bummed about it, it's like I almost felt shame because I was like, I know that this is because I'm just not good enough. That's the fact. I'm like cheerful and goofy and I make the team laugh, but that
That doesn't cut it.
doesn't matter. Yeah, it's like being funny is not the same as like being good at
Awesome.
frisbee. As being awesome.
Well, I mean, look where you are now. You're awesome. Again, one of the most popular StarCraft 2 casters. I mean, come on. You got you somewhere.
Uh, well, yeah, it's
I
pretty
mean, would you
cool.
rather be playing, is there professional, professional
Of
ultimate
course,
frisbee or
of
casting?
course, yes. And there's microwaves designed for frisbee opening.
Maybe there is. Just
No, there is. I
there
shouldn't
is.
be
No,
saying.
there isn't. Stop. That's pretty
Well,
crazy.
the one thing is that like I never want to be the guy who was how do I say that? I never want to be like the most talented, or the funniest, or get the most fortunate opportunities, or do the most glamorous this or that, or
Hmm.
the luckiest. I want to have the best work ethic. Like
That's important.
that's the one that's the trick. That's the trick to the whole day nine spiel, is that no one can outwork me. Period.
I heard
No one
from your
will
schedule.
ever be. Yeah, no one will ever be able to outwork me, and that's my trick.
That's
And I
perfect.
always want to rely on that. Like with frisbee, I don't care that like I started it earlier, and that like I have a pretty good flick. Like I didn't put in the work to it. But if I ever want to be good at something, I am just going to try to be the bulldozer that just steamrolls through the amount of work. So that's who I want to be. I want to be the hardest working person ever.
You're getting there. You're definitely getting there.
Holla! Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you finding the time out of your hectic, hectic schedule to be here on xVixen Gets Personal. Is there anything you want to say to your fans or anybody? Is there where can they reach you if they can't already find you?
Oh, well. The usual place to go is day9.tv. Follow me on Twitter at day9tv. Just Google day9tv and
Just Google Day 9. It was there.
hit all the follow link, like, subscribe buttons and stuff. That would be great. But thank you for being really, really nice, and for just being so supportive and all that good jazz. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a guy.
You
I'm just
are
Sean.
Day
I'm just a
9.
dude. Yeah, it's like, oh, day nine. He
Am I talking to
he
Day 9 right
casted
now or am I
once
talking to
for
Sean? I don't know.
yeah. I was like, day nine was casting for 80 hours straight while running from a bear. It's like no, I'm casted for 5 hours and got tired and had to lie down.
Yeah.
And because I'm just a person, just like a random standard nerd, I always greatly appreciate all the other people who just treat me that way. Just like, hey, how are you doing? It never ceases to cheer me up. So thank you all so much for
All right.
watching and supporting me daily. Yeah, hotta,
Woo.
hotty.
All right.
And
Well,
play more games, damn it.
and
If you're watching this, why are you not playing games? I don't care if it's StarCraft, just play games in
play
general, because
board
games are
games, play chess. It's fine.
play some gay game or board game. Gosh.
What did you do?
Like what the funniest thing is? This is something that happens to me where it's like my mouth wants to say one thing,
Hmm.
and then another thing pops in, and then I accidentally say something that's awful. Some
That's
board games. Instead I said games, and then it came, yeah, so
it's fine.
standard. It's actually something we call a caster mishap, which
Okay.
is where with casting you accidentally say something awful, and it comes out, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh,
Oops.
what have I done? So for any offense incurred by my previous stupidity, hey, sorry, I'm
I'm pretty
above here.
sure everyone's fine with it.
Yay!
All
But go
right.
play games, damn it. get Dominion. Dominion's great. Strongly recommend Dominion. Go to an arcade. Hit buttons. Button mashing's awesome. And yeah, play Starcraft.
All right. So thank you very much. And for viewers, if you like this episode and want more episodes, just click the subscription button, which is above, right? Somewhere above. That way? I don't know. Somewhere above me. Subscription button. You can find me at twitter.com x_Vixen. And thank you, Day9. See you
Sure.
next